we've been getting an awful lot of questions in on a wide variety of topics. And so I've put them together and I'm just going to answer questions today. These are questions that have come in from members of both associations. And I'm going to start over again, Lori, because I just remembered you don't want me to mention the associations.
Oh, I forgot about that too. That's right, because we share it with Tri-County.
So I'm sitting here going, how do I get out of this mess?
Okay. So no problem. We'll just do a redo. Okay. I'll tell Jay.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of John's Rants. My name is John Giardinelli. I'm Association Counsel. I'm with the law firm of Tyler Bursch. I practice in the area of real estate broker defense work and real estate risk management for real estate brokers and agents. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We've been getting in a lot of telephone calls and emails from members asking us various questions. It happens all the time. Plus, I've got questions from my own brokerages that I represent personally, and then some questions that have come in from Professional Standards Manager Lori Smith. So what I thought I would do is take about 10 of these questions and just kind of go through and answer them. And then next time we do a rant, we're going to be talking about some new forms and some other things that are coming down the road. Okay, so let me get started. And again, there's no particular order of importance. These are just questions that have come up over the last month or so. Number one, good morning, John. Do you see any risks or claims from using electronic signatures? No. Using electronic signatures where they're legal is perfectly valid. What I think the problem is in the issues surrounding the electronic signatures. In other words, you send off a document to be signed by your clients or initialed by your clients, perfectly acceptable, nothing wrong with that. I've done it myself many, many times. The issue is, did you go over those documents with your client? Did you explain carefully as you would normally do if this were a face-to-face meeting and you were having the client in your office to sign documents, or you had gone over to their property to sign documents, going over them, making sure they understand what's in them, maybe sending the documents in a blank format ahead of time and pointing out whatever it is you need to point out. In other words, discharging your fiduciary duty to the document. Using DocuSign or some other platform for electronic signatures, perfectly valid, perfectly acceptable, and quite a nice change. But it does not allow you to abdicate your responsibility to go over documents. And another question that came up is, are there any emerging or potential issues for brokers or agents? There are a ton of issues. In fact, Lori and I have decided to schedule another legal panel. I was on the phone this morning, as a matter of fact, with the MLS attorney talking about issues of waiving contingencies, perfectly acceptable so long as you explain everything to the client, escalation clauses, incredibly bad behavior by a number of realtors in the marketplace, ignoring the CDC guidelines, ignoring the restrictions on open houses. So yeah, I think that and I hope I'm wrong. Please believe me when I say I hope I'm wrong, but in talking to other risk manager types that do what I do, it seems like we're on the verge of a large tsunami of new lawsuits. Issues of improperly using social media, fair housing questions. You're getting a brand new residential purchase agreement come December of 2021, which means there's going to be a learning curve, even for those agents that are very, very judicious in their training. So yeah, I think there are going to be a lot of concerns. The next question leads me perfectly into one of those concerns, and that is, should we avoid being a dual agent and just give up on getting both ends of the transaction? If your goal is to get both ends of the transaction, then you really need to be thinking about whether it's a good idea to be a dual agent. A dual agent means that you are representing and are equally responsible to both sides of the transaction, and that you will be in a fiduciary relationship with both sides. That means that you will provide all material information of any kind that comes your way, whether you verify it or not, to your client. I think another problem that comes up is where you overemphasize the fact that you are getting both ends of the transaction, and you ignore the fact that your client is the person to whom you have a primary obligation. Um, so while I can't say you should give up being a dual agent, be aware that according to the National Association of Realtor statistics, it is the number one reason that realtors get sued. Realtors that are in a dual agency relationship that have fiduciary duties to both sides to the transaction are in fact the most exposed agents for purposes of risk management. I saw a recent example. Everything was fine, transaction was going along, and while everybody's in love and while everybody's happy that they've been able to get into a good transaction, at some juncture a problem comes up, and now the question is, who are you going to be loyal to? Are you going to, quote, choose a side? And if you do that, then you're going to possibly have some serious problems. Another question that has been coming up a lot, particularly in light of NAR's new hate speech rules, are what is the status of the new fair housing regulations? It is pretty clear to me, and hopefully to everybody else, that fair housing issues are front burner issues and that it's not going to go away anytime soon. For years, issues regarding fair housing come and they go, get put back on the back burner as other things become important, technology changes, all the other stuff that's been going on in your world. But this time, I think between NAR's fair housing initiatives, CAR's fair housing initiatives, the state's regulations regarding fair housing regulations are here to stay. That means that federal issues relating to fair housing and all of the protected categories under federal law, state rules regarding fair housing, and all the categories regarding the classifications here in California, which are over double the number at the federal level, new hate speech issues, political issues relating to hate speech, issues regarding whether or not you've engaged in hate speech. All of that is now front burner stuff. In fact, your professional standards manager and your CEO has decided that the issue has become so big that we're going to have a fair housing symposium on June 23rd, and we're inviting. We've invited and they've accepted 3 incredible speakers. I'm going to be the moderator, and I'm so excited. We're going to have Professor Molly Safford, who is a professor at McGeorge School of Law. She's going to be talking about legal issues relating to implied bias, where you can get into a whole bunch of problems and you don't even realize you've been biased. Then we're going to have Brandon Butler, who's an attorney with California Department of Fair Housing and Employment, is going to talk about the state's approach to fair housing when you get yourself in trouble, both from a sales and a property management perspective. And then we're going to have Matt DeSantis. Matt was the chair of the committee that just drafted Standard of Practice 10.5, which is NAR's new hate speech requirements. So I would urge you to join in on that day. I think it's going to be well worth your time. For those of you that are brokers, remember under the regulations for broker supervision in California, You have an actual obligation to keep your agents updated on federal and state fair housing issues, and I would urge you to consider having your office take a look at that program. Again, it's going to be from 10 a.m. To noon on June 25th, not too far away. Another question that came in recently that really talks about competency. I have a client looking for some industrial space since I only sell homes, and can I still help him locate an industrial building and get a commission? Well, the answer is yes. The question is really, are you competent? I've been a lawyer for 43 years. I'm pretty well versed in both business and real estate. I would not do your estate planning. Why? Because I'm not qualified. However, I know enough to answer some questions and to get a client in a whole lot of trouble. Therefore, when I had a case come in over the weekend, I referred it to an estate planning attorney, and I'll work with them on the real estate issues. In the same manner, under Article 11 and various rules in California, you're obligated to act competently, and that usually means staying inside the field where you have expertise. What I would suggest to someone in a situation like this, where it's industrial, commercial, or something you're not normally familiar with, is find somebody who is and work with them and work out the commission sharing in that particular area. I'm going to be running out of time fairly shortly, so let me just answer a couple of other quick questions, and then we'll call it a day for now. When I present an offer to the listing agent, I do not get a reply. What can I do? Well, take a look at Article 1, Standard of Practice 1-7. What that says is that if you send an offer to the listing agent and a written request, doesn't have to be a 5-page letter, it can be a simple line saying, please respond in writing, confirming that this offer has been presented to the seller. The listing agent now has an affirmative obligation to send back a written confirmation that the offer has been accepted, that the offer has been submitted to the seller. Failure to do that is a violation of the Code of Ethics. Also, remember, under both the Code of Ethics, Articles 1 and 3, which says you have a duty to cooperate for the benefit of the client. It is a violation of the Code of Ethics. It is probably a violation of California real estate law, and therefore a violation of the Department of Real Estate regulations to not cooperate and to hide offers from sellers that have been presented by a buyer. So it is pretty clear that a violation by failing to not only submit an offer, but then to cooperate with the buyer's agent is going to potentially get that listing agent in a whole lot of trouble. And in an environment that we have now with multiple offers and things moving at such a quick pace, I think more important than ever that everyone remember, slow it down. The rules haven't changed just because the market's gotten hot, and you need to pay very close attention. So let me see here. Last question, what is the statute of limitations on failing to disclose a material fact? Depends. If it is not your client and there's no fraud alleged or breach of fiduciary duty, and simply a failure to see something you should have seen or disclose something, then it's generally going to be 2 years from the close of escrow. However, there are various provisions for 3 years from the date of discovery if there's a breach of fiduciary duty and or some other type of fraud or misrepresentation or concealment. All right, well, that's all the time I have for today. We'll take up some of these questions. If you have a question, send them to Lori, send them to me. My email address is jvg, John Victor Giardinelli, jvg @ Tyler, Tyler, Bursch, BURSCH.com. Be happy to include these questions in either a brown bag, a legal panel, or some other program that we do here at the association, and get that information to you just as quickly as we can. For now, that's John's rants for today. Thank you for joining me, and we look forward to seeing you all again, hopefully live someday. Take care now. Music. Bye-bye. All right, Lori, that's it.
Okay, 1 second.
I don't know how long I went, but I figured that was probably long enough. Usually we're trying to limit these things to 10 to 20 minutes. So
Yeah, I think that's perfect. Yeah.
okay.
All right. Okay,
Then,
I'll send this over to Jay and get it edited, and we'll send it out.
okay, if there's anything he needs, just tell him to give me a call or let me know.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take a look at those case interpretations, and
Yeah, I'm gonna look at those today too.
and then as soon as I hear from Barbara, I'll let you know.
Okay, awesome. Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
All right, thanks, John. See you
Thank
later.
you. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.